What happens when a linebacker and running back get signed in Washington? Well, I have your answer on today's news update. Let's go.
We have Commanders breaking news coming out of Ashburn, Virginia. For an update, we go to the Ref the District studios. Here's Nathan Perry.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Ref the District's news update. This one coming to you a little bit later due to some circumstances, but no difference is being made on that because this is some big differences being made in Washington. Adam Peters continuing to shine here in free agency, just kind of dealing out and getting good pieces here. And these two pieces, while one of them I'm not nearly as excited about, we'll get to that here in a little bit. I do think that this is a tandem that will help Washington win games. How many games is kind of up in the air. There's still some roster holes that I think that need to be filled, but we'll get to that at another time. This news update, we're going to be talking about Luvu from the Panthers being signed on the Commanders, shoring up that linebacker room, and then we're going to talk about, of course, Austin Ekeler coming to the DC area. And all of that is big here for Washington. I mentioned that's going to add some win totals to them. Maybe get that over under a little bit higher than the 6.5 it was last season. And of course, if you want to bet on that, you can head over to Bet Online. Use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to get yourself a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. You don't have to bet on just NFL. You can bet on NBA action, NCAA action, baseball coming up right around the corner, spring training going right on now. How will the Nats do? We'll have all that right here for you on Ref the District. But you can head over to Bet Online, get all that wagering information and news right at your fingertips. Bet Online, where the game starts. Do bet responsibly. That's a big thing here that we want to stress to you. Don't go above your means and don't go betting with your heart. Bet with your mind. Let's talk here about the two players, and I'm sure I butchered Frankie's name, so we're going to go with Frankie from now on. The linebacker is, I think, an outstanding signing. I really think that this is a home run for Washington. He's 27 years old. He's very versatile. He's likely going to play in that middle linebacker role, but don't mistake this as he is strictly just middle linebacker. He can play up and down the field. He is very efficient at pass rush. He is, and I mean, like when I say efficient, I mean he is outstanding at pass rush. So that's what I'm saying at a middle linebacker. This is somebody who's going to be going across the field, good at stopping the run, decent in coverage. But then when he lines up, you don't know who's going to be coming at you there in tandem with Jamin Davis. And this is outstanding. I really think that this is the signing that I probably should have wanted. I kind of wanted Patrick Queen, but that was kind of a name, and that was somebody we're familiar with, especially there in the DC area. You get some of that Baltimore information coming to you. So Patrick Queen was that familiarity bias that we talk about here on Ref the District. And then this guy comes, and I know that there's several fans, especially in the Virginia area, maybe even down into those North Carolina regions, that never switched over to the Panthers. They love Frankie. And I mean, and this is somebody who they probably wanted. And I know we've had a couple people comment that this is the linebacker that we should prefer over Patrick Queen. Make no mistake, I'm super excited about this. Linebacker was a deficiency for the Washington Commanders. Okay. Cody Barton wasn't able to replicate his big season in Seattle. You're having to start people like David Mayo. We've seen the likes of some old retreads from Carolina come before, but this is not an older player. And what I really love about this one from Adam Peters is not only are they getting a versatile player for the defense, for the Joe Witt defense, for that Dan Quinn defense, where they're going to be able to line him and Davis up and around. But this deal, 3 years for $31 million, I think is outstanding. Okay. You're going to get a quality player here that you're going to be able to line up, who you're going to be able to put in different positions. And he's 27 years old right now. He was born in September, so he'll be 28. That means his deal ends at 31. So you don't necessarily have to overpay. This guy's going to be in the prime of his life right now. His NFL playing career is in the prime during these 3 years. And if he has a drop off or needs too much money at 31 years of age, you don't have to go for that. And this is kind of something I've seen a lot with the contracts we're seeing with Adam Peters is these deals are trying to set up Washington in a favorable position to kind of maneuver. So a lot of these deals will be coming up when that QB contract needs to be paid. And so you're going to have money to be able to pay your QB and kind of situate yourself in a successful position. So excellent signing. Adam Peters did an outstanding job with this one. And he did an okay job with Austin Ekeler. I know this is going to give me a lot of hate. Don't get me wrong here. Ekeler is a fantastic player. Ekeler is has the 69 touchdowns in 7 years and everything. But this is where I'm probably going to deviate from a lot of people. I know a lot of people are really, really excited about Austin Ekeler coming here. I know people wanted him before when it was, trade rumors were kind of going around. Now that he's in free agency, the fact that Washington's able to get him, great. All right. He is a shorter guy. He's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's 28 years old. His birthday's coming up. So he's going to be 29 by the time the season starts. And this is one of the reasons why I'm just not really in love with this. I think his best years are behind him. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I just didn't see this as kind of where Washington needed to go. You had, and I'm not going to try even to dare compare Ekeler with Antonio Gibson. Ekeler actually lived up to what he could do in the NFL, whereas Antonio Gibson kind of faded into obscurity over the last 2 seasons. So not the same player at all, but when you're coming down to needing, if you wanted a running back, and I get that this running back class coming out isn't as exciting as last year's class, but this is not where I necessarily would have been spending money. And now it's a good name and it's a familiar name. And of course, if you're ever in fantasy football, he's fantastic there. I will say that over the last few seasons, he's not been nearly as good. In fact, last season, he only had 628 yards on 179 carries, and so it really wasn't where you would want. And some people are trying to say that he's going to be the third down, the pass catching, and he has a good skill set when it comes to that. He had 51 receptions last year. The year before, making the century mark at 107 for 722 yards. And I think a lot of people are thinking that 2022 version of Austin Ekeler is going to come to town, and I just don't see it. And the B-Rob and C-Rod are kind of, similar backs and that power, and C-Rod has that one-cut potential to kind of just move things forward. Ekeler does have a bigger pass-catching set, but we saw B-Rob start to get kind of successful at that. Third down backs aren't really as much of a thing anymore because you just need every back needs to essentially be, the Marshall Faulk. They need to be able to catch. They need to be able to run. We're not going to see the 50 drop backs and only 20 runs this season. We're going to see some more runs. So in that regards, getting a running back who's versatile, who can line up and outside or just do pass catching, great. I'm all for the fact that this is something Washington would want, but I'm signing who will be a 29-year-old running back isn't exactly where I thought they were going to go with it. Now the deal's fine. 2 years, $11 million. That's really cheap. Okay. This is one of the good things about this deal. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of people are going to love about this one is just that it was an efficient deal. That this is just 2 years. He's going to be north of 30 by the time this deal is over with. And then you can already build younger when it comes to that. So this does give a rookie or young QB some versatile kind of, running back to kind of work with a safety blanket to go with some of the, the tight ends that we have here on the roster. The line is starting to get some of that addressed too. So I do think that this is a fine signing, but I'm not nearly as psyched about it as some other people are who are thinking this, again, is going to get the Austin Ekeler, who is almost an all-star type player, which he's really, only had that 1 year where he's been super, super good, right? And that was that 2022 year where he nearly got 1,000 yards rushing, and he had those 107 catches for 722 yards. Outside of that, he's just fine. And so this is one of those things where it's just like people, I think, kind of remember the flashy plays and the things that, he kind of versatile and does all this, but it's not a great signing for running back 2. You didn't necessarily have to go this route, but it's not bad that they went there. This is a good player, and you want to sign good players. So kill me in the comments if you must. Of course, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on audio, give us a rating in review. Maybe be a little nice after this Austin Ekeler talk, because I'm assuming you like that signing. I'm assuming you're a big Austin Ekeler fan. That's fine. I think it's a good signing in that sense that it's a good player, but not a great signing as many people think. So I'm Nathan Perry here on the Believe Network, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, be a fan.